Okay, let's continue with verse 46. Verse 46, I will just scan it first, says, V'yade'uhu ki anihi Adonai eloheihem asher hotzeiti otam mei'eretz mitzrayim leshakhni v'tocham ani Adonai eloheihem. Okay. First word in this is Exodus chapter 29, verse 46 in the original Hebrew says, Ve'yade'u. Okay, so the verb is yada, yod, dalet, ayin. Yada is to know. There are some other nuances of this word. I think a lot of you will be familiar with how Adam, how he knew at Chawa, Ishto. That's Chava, his wife, or Eve, his wife. And so there's definitely an intimacy aspect of that. But yada can also mean care for, like to care for emotionally, to care for someone. Even getting close to the idea of love, right? And you'll see this in Tehillim sometimes about Hashem knowing us, right? This type of, obviously not sexual intimacy, but like loving us, caring for us with yada. So that's kind of interesting. So, Yade'u, the u at the end means they. So Yade'u means they knew. Ve'yade'u means and they will know. Who will know? What will they know? Ki, kaf yod, ki. And I could have made this green, right? It is acting as a conjunction. Maybe let me. There we go. Not exactly the right color, but we've been making it a bit brighter than the screen anyway. One of you had mentioned it was hard for you to see it when it's too dark. So, by the way, if you have a comment or suggestion to make to the channel here at Hebrew Literacy, please leave a comment down below. I do read those, and I do really appreciate. Don't be scared to critique. Just be polite. We are always trying to improve how we do. I mean, if you look back at the beginning of these series, either in First Kings or in First Exodus or some of the stuff I did a long time ago, I mean, we just had I had a light that had a magnifying glass on it, and I had a webcam just kind of like stuck to it, showing a Hebrew Bible underneath, and we're just opening it up and just like I have a yod pointing to it, or maybe my finger just pointing to the text, and we're just going along and reading and translating. So we've changed and updated a lot. We're trying to always get better. So if you have some ideas, a way that I can make it better for you, or help you with your understanding, or someone you think, or someone you know, then please let me know, and I'll definitely consider that. All right? All right. Then they shall know is one way you could understand this. The vav can be a then. Ki, that. Ani, that's I. Probably should have been yellow. It's a pronoun, but I don't always mark those standalone words. Aleph nun yod, that I. And Hebrew will not usually say the word am, right? In like what we consider the modern present tense in English, when they're doing it's called a predicative nominative. They'll just say, like, it sounds kind of caveman-y, like I Tarzan, you Jane, Ani Tarzan, right? Or actually they'd actually say Tarzan Ani. This way we have it here showing the Ani first. There's a little bit of emphasis, right? Remember when you reverse a word order in biblical Hebrew, oftentimes that's changing the emphasis. So we usually use magenta for that, right? For emphasis. So, because the usual way to express a predicate nominative in biblical Hebrew, especially in the Torah, is you think like Yoda, right? If Yoda's going to say I'm big, he doesn't say I'm big. He says, big am I? Yes. Big am I? Right? So, or Yoda am I? Yes. So same thing here. So Hashem, we would expect it to say Hashem Ani or Hashem Anochi, right? By saying Ani, there's emphasis there. So V'yade'u, for they shall know, ki that Ani, I am Yod Hey, Wow Hey, I am Hashem, I am Adonai. Eloheihem. So this is the Elohim in a construct state, the Elohim of Ham, of them. So they're God. Asher, Aleph Shin Resh. Who? Hotzeiti. So the verb here is yatsa. Yod, tzadi, aleph. We're missing our yod. Oftentimes this happens with verbs that start with a yod. That yod will disappear, right? Okay. So the yod is gone. And we have a hey at the beginning. That's added. The yod sometimes changes to a vav. You can think of it like that too, right? So, because it used to be a wa, and a wa, not so far apart. So, yatsa is to go out, right? To leave. The hifil form of the verb tells you to cause to do the thing, or sometimes it's an elative function. So, to cause to go out. Well, what's to cause someone to go out? What does that mean? To bring out. So, hotze brought out T. That's I. So hotzeiti brought out I. Otam. So we have the definite direct object marker, aleph tav, with the suffix them. So ki ani Adonai, for I am Adonai, eloheihem, their God. That's what they're going to know, right? Yade'u ki, they will know that. Ani Adonai, eloheihem, I am the Lord their God, you could say. Asher hu, hotzeiti, I brought otam, them, out, brought out. Mei'eretz. So this is min, and the aleph couldn't take the noon, so that's why we get the second dot there. Mei from construct chain. Eretz mitzrayim. So that's going to be, because that last word is definite, that is going to be the the. The. We get to say the at the beginning. All because of that last word being a name. Mitzrayim imparts the to the beginning of the construct chain. So may from the Eretz, land of Mitzrayim, Egypt. Leshakhni. So here we have an infinitive. Leshakhan, or as some of you might have heard in the past, you can shakakan, everybody, rakalong, shakakan. So sorry. So leshakhni. So to dwell or to inhabit or to literally to tent, me. So that I might dwell. Vetoch in the midst of of them. Ani, I am. Yod Hey, Wow Hey, I am Adonai, eloheihem, the God of Ham, them. How'd you do? You do all right with that? Let's back up and do it again. This time, try to translate before me. So this is Exodus 29, verse 46. Veyada'u. So the verb is yada. If you're just listening, that's fine. Auditory learners, welcome here as well. Yada is what? To know or to care for, right? Even to love sometimes or to have intimate relations. And no, it is not proper exegesis to take all of those meanings. I've heard so many pastors and messianic rabbis and Hebrew roots teachers do this. They'll basically take the 4 or 5 meanings that a word has, and then they make a sermon about a particular verse that has that word, and they expand it like it's like they'll amplify, like God's saying all of these things, to do this and to do that and do that. And just a cursory look at one of the meanings of yada, to have intercourse with, kind of makes it very clear. God is not saying they will have intercourse. Okay? So that is not proper exegesis. You choose the one meaning of the word that fits the context. Now, true, sometimes, rarely, there might be a double entendre, or maybe even a triple entendre. For those of you familiar with Dr. Michael Heiser's work, as he brilliantly does with the Nachash, the serpent at the Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, right? Looking at Nachash, how this is where we get Nachoshet, which is like bronze or copper, that he could be saying that this creature was very shiny, which made him attractive to Eve, right? She wanted to be shiny like that, like metal is, right? and it can be nichesh, to like soothsay or to divine or to tell the future, right? Or it can actually be the serpent itself. So you have maybe a triple entendre even happening there, but that is not the norm in any language. So please do not do that. Now, if you just want to share with people when you're doing a Dvar Torah, or you're giving a sermon or something, or a drash, no problem to share the possible meanings so they can kind of understand the selection process. Because sometimes that is super valid. You'll see where an English translation will select a word that fits their worldview. For example, antinomianism, it fits their view very well, or like Jews are no longer the people of God, or something like this. And so they'll go with a certain meaning of a word, which is a possible meaning of the word, and then they'll improperly translate that because their worldview is being forced on the text. And so at least when people see the choices, they can understand, okay, well, that's why that translator chose it. They're not just lying. It is a possible meaning. It's just a dubious translation because they're coming at it from a certain either anti-Semitic or antinomianist position. Okay, so yade'u, they knew, ve'yade'u, and they will know, ki, that, ani, I myself am Yod He Waw He. That's Adonai Eloheihem, the God of them. Asher Hu hotzeiti, cause to yatsa I, cause to come out I brought out otam. That's et plus them. Mei'eretz mitzrayim. May. That's mem with a tseri underneath it, the vowel that looks like a sideways colon. It would have been min. Now Moshe could have written min eretz, but this is the way Hashem spoke. Hashem said may eretz, so he contracted it from the eretz mitzrayim, from the land of Egypt. Leshakhni, so, to habitat I, to dwell I, that I might dwell. V'toch am, that's a bait, if you're just listening. In the toch, that's construct of tavich. So midst of of they. So in midst of they, we say in their midst. Ani, I am Yod He, Waw He, Eloheihem, the God of them. All right, hope you're all doing well. Now I'm going to read to again, just kind of a normal reading this time. All right, normal pace. If you understood it all and you're a visual learner, you might want to close your eyes this time and see how well you do just listening. If you've been listening and it's safe for you to look, then you might want to look now, okay? Try to expand the Hebrew in your mind into another dimension of learning. Right? V'yada'u ki ani Adonai eloheihem, asher hotzeiti otam mei'eretz mitzrayim, leshakhni v'tocham, ani Adonai eloheihem. Now, something that's nice about this section we have here, where Hashem says, "Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti otam me'eretz mitzrayim." I am Hashem, their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt. Why? We might ask, leshakhni, that I might dwell v'tocham, in their midst. Rashi indicates that this was his purpose for bringing our ancestors out of Egypt, was because he wanted to dwell with us. It's a glance at the restoration of the garden, how our ancestor Adam Rishon was kicked out. He wants to walk in our midst. He wants to mitalech b'tochecheinu. Just beautiful. This view is also shared by the Rashbam and Ibn Ezra and many other classical commentators. I'll just share. Many of you are Christians who are friends of ours, right? And you worship the same God, the God of Israel. But I just would say that it irks me a little bit when I hear the idea that like Christianity is not a religion, it's a relationship. I mean, look here, we have relationship in Judaism. Look way back in its times. Hashem's entire purpose always when we're reaching out people is for relationship. So maybe we can pause that tired cliche a little bit. Perhaps worth mentioning is that Nachmanides, he pushes back a little bit against Ibn Ezra and the others' explanations that Hashem brought us out so that he might abide with us. And he just clarifies that in his opinion, It's not because Hashem had any need to abide with us, but that it was we who are in need. Indeed, that is certainly true. Although I would add a little bit to that, that he does desire to have that relationship with all of us. And as we know, of course, from Yochanan, that he came that nobody would perish. Hey, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day or evening, whatever the case may be. If you like what I do here, please consider becoming a patron. Check out my patreon.com/Hebrew Literacy below and decide if you want to support us monthly or just a one-time gift. If you can't afford to do that or you just don't want to, then please consider praying for the work. Shalom, shalom.